Get fucked a second time, Craig.
Welcome back, twat. All right.
Bitch ass motherfucker.
I like the intro too on the last one, but I felt like the fucking Ben Shapiro over here. Okay, here we go. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Roll 'em If You Got 'em. I am Carl, and I'm joined with Dakota.
Hello, everybody.
Bet you guys didn't see that coming. Anyways, we are going to do another Song of Ice and Fire tactics talk here on House Targaryen. And a little bit different format this time because the Free Folk videos took about 2.5 hours between the two of them. We're going to try to bang this one out in about 30 minutes. So more of a general overview than the comprehensive deep dive from before. The Targaryens have a very move shenanigans and kill your opponent sort of feeling. So take a look at a couple of generic tactics cards here. First one being field control. When an NCU claims a maneuver zone, so that's anyone's NCU, my NCU or my opponent's NCU. If the NCU is friendly, you basically get to do the things the maneuver zone already does, but with +1 movement. And if you do retreat, the enemy becomes weakened. If the NCU is an enemy NCU, after they resolve their maneuver, one of your combat units, one of your Targaryen units, can perform a 3-inch shift. Now, it's not a maneuver, but there's a decent chance that whatever your opponent did for movement, you can pretty heavily negate that with a 3-inch shift. Especially like a lot of units are moving at 5, so you get to do 60% of whatever they just did, but you kind of get to do it for free. Unstoppable Advanced. When a friendly unit is performing a charge action, after rolling charge distance dice, this unit may re-roll any charge distance dice. And I'm 99% sure that this has been FAQ'd to where even if you disorderly that charge, you can still roll the die, even though you're not supposed to be allowed to play tactics cards after disorderly charge. This was like a, hey, little interruptee. And then you have the second benefit here, or second option, I guess. When surging forth, you can add 3 inches to your movement, and all enemies in short range after your movement become weakened. We're going to come back to that here in a second, but you could get a nice little token puke out there, weakening, 2-3 enemies at a time. Our first commander we're going to take a look at here, Barristan Selmy, Barristan the Bold. He has Knightly Vow. After deployment, he can target 1 enemy combat unit, and he gets rerolls on charges and +1 to hit in melee against that chosen unit. And then he also has the Embolden short range morale bubble that we'll come back to that too here in a second. Barristan, he's a pretty morale focused commander. So if you're bringing good morale units, that's just going to double down on what he does, and you're going to be pretty much passing all your panic. And if you bring morale units or units that don't have that great morale, well, they're going to have better morale now, so it can help take care of one of their weak spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. His main thing is being in the middle of the fighting.
Yes. His first tactics card here we'll take a look at is Combat Prowess. When an enemy is targeted by an ability or tactics card, you may expend 1 condition token from that enemy. If you do, cancel the effects of that ability or tactics card. So do you remember the little token puke we just did there a minute ago from our Surge Forth, spread out a bunch of weekend tokens? That can double down on Barristan Selmy having more tokens on the board that he could use to cancel enemy effects.
Mm-hmm.
This card also has a second option. A lot of the Targaryen cards have 2 options. Start of a friendly turn, target 1 engage friendly combat unit, remove 1 condition token from that unit. So maybe your opponent was really banking on you being weakened for a turn or something. He can just pull that off, kind of, that whole being in the midst of battle sort of thing.
Yeah, it's just like a token shield.
Mm-hmm. And, you're just not going to shake Barristan here. One interesting attachment that I like the idea of throwing in a Barristan list is it Marselen? I'm going to pronounce it Marselen, but he has Dauntless, so each time they pass morale test, they get to restore a wound. Kind of helps out on Barristan stuff. And then he also has Embolden. So you could have two of these morale bubbles out there on the table. Of you can't benefit from them separately. Like you can't get +2 to morale
Mm-hmm.
from a unit being within range of both of these guys. But there's a good chance that you can have your whole army with a +1 to morale now. With having, 6 inches on this side of this guy, 6 inches on the other side, and then a foot away, you have Barristan, who has a bubble that goes 6 inches one way, 6 inches the other.
Yeah, he doesn't even necessarily need to be a foot away. He could be, I think it's like 17 inches because the trays are like
Yeah,
five and a half
right.
inches. So
Yeah, yeah. Um, a lot of the table. A lot of the table. Next up, we'll have Belwas. He has the taunt ability. Enemy in long range activates. If that enemy could attack or charge this unit and declares any other action besides attack or charge that targets this unit this turn, before performing that action, the enemy becomes vulnerable and weakened. That's not like that's a. I like that taunt. I
yeah,
know, we're
they've
we're always comparing things to the old version.
they've updated to make it just better.
Mhm. And then he also has hardened. Each time an enemy is performing an attack on this unit after rolling defensive dice, this unit blocks one hit for each of its destroyed ranks. So he has a very like get hit and then hit him back harder sort of mentality with his attachment and his tactics cards. He has expert parry when a friendly cavalry or infantry unit is attacked, so not your freedmen, not your dragons, those sorts of things. After defensive dice are rolled, for each blocked hit, the attacker suffers a hit. If the defender's Belwas unit, the attacker suffers -1 defensive dice for these hits. So that on top of hardened, which if you're down, 2 ranks, like there's 2 blocks right there, and then you actually roll your defensive dice and see how many more blocks you can pick up. You can throw quite a few back at your opponent, and at -1, and they are hits, so a vulnerable token could be expended here,
Mm-hmm.
and it could be a nice little clap back on your enemy there, especially if you're rocking something solid like pikemen. I mean, if you're getting charged in the front or flank, you're attacking them first. You also have the shield wall to, um, I'm sorry, blanking here, block hits for remaining ranks. So if you have remaining ranks, if you have missing ranks, all of these things, you're going to get lots of extra blocks to throw back at your opponent. I mean, if you have Belwas and pikemen, like that unit's, your opponent's going to ignore that unit to
Or
the
just like
absolute best of their ability.
or just cancel abilities, but not the point.
Yeah, yeah. If they can cancel, expect them to cancel. uh, Daario Naharis here. He's pretty straightforward. So he's a Stormcrow unit. He's gonna want other Stormcrow units on the table. While controlling the wealth, melee attacks gain Sundering, roll their highest attack die value. Daario's unit can perform attacks off the wealth zone as if, like your opponent was claiming, or if you were claiming the combat zone. Stormcrow lieutenants, you're going to like these in your Daario list because you're going to want the wealth so often. He does have a card that just says, hey, I control the wealth this round. He's going to get Sundering, roll highest attack die value, and Xaros Daxos. He has 2 order tokens. Every time you claim the wealth, you put another order token on him. When a combat unit performs an attack, you may remove an order token from Xaro and target that combat unit. If you do, choose one of the following for that unit to gain. Suffer until the end of that attack. This unit is treated as having +1 rank for attack dice, or this unit is treated as having -1 rank for attack dice. So you can use it on your units, you can use it on your opponent's units, and you're going to want the wealth. So Xaro obviously wants the wealth. Pretty straightforward for Daario. Mother of Dragons. Daenerys Targaryen's Mother of Dragons. This one's pretty straightforward. She wants dragons out there. She wants probably multiple dragons. Everything she does is around the dragons. They're kind of the coolest thing in the game anyhow. Dracarys, when Daenerys activates, instead of her action or her unit performing an action, one friendly dragon in short range can perform a melee attack. So to set it up, that dragon has to already be engaged. So either had charged or been charged or whatever. It's not a ranged attack and it's not a charge. So a little setup goes into this one, but one free dragon attack really can change a whole game.
Yeah, generally worth it. The dragons have always been pretty good. They just like deal wounds, so I mean, it's pretty worth it.
Yeah. So the dragons roll 2 dice, hitting on a 2+, and they only need one of them to be. So you have to roll snake eyes to fail this thing here. Depending on which dragon, you get vicious. Or no, they all have vicious. Depending on which dragon, though, you get to put out a token. But if either one of those 2 attacks hit, it's D3 wounds +1 for each remaining rank. So a full unit is just going to take 6 wounds. And then, depending on the dragon, panicked, weakened, or vulnerable tokens coming out.
Yeah. So if it's Drogon, it's basically like 2d3 +3.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Daenerys is Queen of Meereen. So very panic Daenerys here. Almost like Lannister Daenerys is what you're playing here. She has an order threaten, start a friendly turn, target one enemy in line of sight and long range. They become weakened. She has intimidating presence, which is -1 to morale test and +1 wound from failing panic test to enemies engaged with her. And then the rightful queen. Each time a friendly NCU claims the crown, you may replace the zone's effect with search your tactics deck for one of Daenerys' commander cards and add it to
Yeah. Basically search your deck for one of her cards added to your hand.
Yeah. So kind of looking at her as Lannister, Daenerys Lannister here. We have subjugation of power. When an enemy combat unit activates, the enemy suffers 1 panic test for each zone you control between the crown and suffers a panic test. I'm sorry. For each zone you control between the crown and the combat, they suffer -1 to the roll on a failure until the end of the turn. They cannot be targeted by friendly tactics cards and lose abilities. So panic test potentially at -2. If they're engaged with Dany, you're looking at -3 +1 wound from intimidating presence. This also doubles down with Quotho. He has intimidating presence and prey on fear. So once again, you're looking at this panic test potentially at a -3 +1 wound. And then if they fail, his unit could heal up a couple, assuming he's in like screamers. They're kind of squishy. They're probably going to have some wounds looking to heal anyhow. He is a 2-point attachment. I'm pretty sure I had it pulled up and then I don't know where I put it. I'm pretty sure he's 2 points though, which kind of does make your screamers 8, but it should be okay. Next up, we have Grey Worm. Grey Worm is very like kill your opponent later. Like we're gonna go kill our opponent here, but he's gonna pump the brakes for like a round or two. He's got the battle endurance, which is obviously a late game card with cumulative effects, reroll misses, sundering, crit blow, +2 attack dice. If you can get Grey Worm to round 6 and you got a couple of battle endurance out there, you're gonna have a couple of gassy units. And then you also have Retribution of the Dragon. When a friendly unit is destroyed by an enemy attack, target the enemy attaches to him until the end of the game. A lot of these are end of the round. This is an end of the game card. When they're destroyed, they're worth an additional victory point. When that enemy is attacked, if Grey Worm's unit is in short range, the enemy becomes vulnerable. So as the game goes on, Grey Worm, he's just going to get better, and your opponent's units are going to be worth probably more points too as your things die. Jorah Mormont, he's going to kill with movement. He has ambush. Enemies charged in the flank or rear become panicked and weakened. That's super good because when you're charging in the flank or rear, they're already at -1 or -2 to their panic test. They're going to be minus to their defensive saves, so it's going to soften them up. And then he has Marshal. You can forego the movement if you don't need it, and you can heal up some horsies. He wants lots of cavalry out there on the table. And then Feinting Maneuver. This doubles down, obviously, with ambush. You charge them in the front, and then you get to place them to a flank edge. If you charge them in the flank, you get to place them in the rear.
It's basically charge them in the flanks, get extra speed, and then heal your horses. Very much a horse commander.
Yes, very horsey. And then our next horsey commander here, we'll have Khal Drogo. Khal Drogo is all about Khal Drogo. He has expert duelist or just, which is the 1 wound, and then now it's you can kill an infantry attachment on a 5+, which is really good. I remember this ability used to be a damn miserable one.
It used to be on like a 2+, and I was just like, why wouldn't you not do that?
Yeah, it was crazy. Assault orders. Friendly combat unit can make an attack off of any zone.
Melee attack.
Melee attack, yes. And then Drogo can charge instead. Drogo is about Drogo. He wants all the gas. And you're also removing sudden retreat there because Khal Drogo would never retreat. Makes sense. Odd Revat, when Drogo activates, once again, Drogo is all about Drogo. Target an enemy in long range, attach his card to him until the end of the round. Melee attacks get critical blow. Enemy is worth an extra point if they're destroyed this round. If they are not destroyed this round, your opponent gets a victory point. This card's a bit of a gamble, but
you can generally line it up to where you're getting the points because you're not going to throw this out and not have them kill you.
Yeah, you're going to have plans to get 2, 3, 4 attacks in on someone and make sure they're dead. Drogo's probably going to want to hang out with his veterans. They have pretty heavy offensive profile. Drogo's all about Drogo, and he wants to go do Drogo things. All right. Marselen. I'm going to go Marselen. Mother's Men Commander. He has unfaltering conviction. When a friendly combat unit is destroyed, place an order token on Marselen. The unit gains the following based on number of tokens. So he needs 2 or 3. 2 gets him +1 to hit. 3 gets him +1 to defensive saves. He has Supply Aid. Start of a friendly turn, target 1 friendly combat unit. This unit suffers up to 3 wounds. Restore 1 plus that many wounds to 1 other friendly unit in long range. So you could suffer no wounds and heal 1 wound. You could take 3 wounds and heal 4, or whatever's in the middle. And then when a friendly NCU claims combat zone, replace the zone's effect with, deploy 1 Freedman unit fully within long range, table edge, or fully within short range of Marselin's unit, and at least 1 inch away from enemy units. So if you're bringing Freedmen, you can almost kill them on command by running them away from the rest of your units, and they'll die at the end of the round. So they're untrained masses here. Start of the round. If this unit is not in short range of other friendly units, without untrained masses, it is destroyed. You can use that to kind of gas up Marselen himself by killing off your own freedmen. They're not worth points, and you can bring them back if you have some of his cards. Simple way sort of gas them up. And then final commander here, Skahaz Kandaq.
No idea.
No idea. Crazy names. The Shave Pate. Shave Pate. I always said Shave Pat when I was reading the books. I don't know if I ever realized there was an E at the end of that. Couple of basic offensive abilities here. Mark target and insight. He'll pick up vicious and roll his highest attack die value, and then enemy in long range becomes vulnerable. He's very much about like an opponent's debuff sort of thing. Looking at his cards here, after an enemy combat unit completes an attack. I don't know how an NCU would complete an attack, but whatever. Attach this card to that enemy unit until the end of the round. While attached during your friendly turns, that enemy loses all abilities and cannot be targeted by their friendly tactics cards. When that enemy is destroyed, gain 1 VP. If this card is removed and the enemy has not been destroyed, your opponent gains VP. Once again, we're looking at these victory point gamble sort of deals. But that pretty much wraps up our Targaryen's tactics talks here. I know it wasn't the comprehensive one of the free folk. We have more of these coming. Let us know what you guys think. If you like this condensed sort of hit the high points version, if you prefer the comprehensive, like we're going to talk about basically everything sort of version. We're curious to see where you guys land on this because we've kind of gone back and forth about it a couple of times. And I mean, I'll be honest, this almost felt too condensed, whereas the free folk did feel too comprehensive. I think there's a sweet spot in the middle between
There's somewhere
30,
in the middle between 30 minutes and 3 hours.
between 30 and 150. There's a better number. We're going to find that number for you guys. Yeah, let us know what you guys think. If there's anything particular that we should have covered that we didn't, let us know. We could always do Targaryen Tactics Talk Part 2. But yeah, Dakota, you have anything?
No, thanks for joining us. Just check out check out our other videos and more to come. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, and join us on our Discord page. Check us out there.
Sweet. All right. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.